My roommate's girlfriend moved in without paying rent and started using my expensive skincare. So I locked everything up. What's up, everyone? I need to share the most bizarre and infuriating roommate situation I've ever experienced. This is a story about boundaries, respect, and how some people think they can just waltz into your life and take whatever they want without asking. My name is Alex, and this is the story of how my roommate's girlfriend essentially moved into our apartment rent-free and started treating my personal belongings like her own personal shopping mall, until I had to take some pretty extreme measures to protect what was mine. The setup. Let me paint the picture for you. I'm 28, work in software development here in Austin, Texas, and I've been living in this really nice two-bedroom apartment in East Austin for about a year and a half. The rent is $1,800 a month, which we split evenly, so $900 each plus utilities. In Austin's current market, that's actually a steal. About 10 months ago, I needed a new roommate after my previous one got a job offer in Seattle. I found Marcus through a roommate-finding app. He's 26. Works in marketing at a local startup, seemed responsible during our interview process, and most importantly, he passed the background check and had solid references from previous roommates. Marcus appeared to be the ideal roommate at first. He was clean, quiet, paid his bills on time, and we had similar lifestyles. We both worked standard business hours, enjoyed cooking at home, and weren't big partiers. We'd occasionally watch movies together or grab dinner, but we generally respected each other's space and privacy. The apartment itself is really nice. Hardwood floors, updated kitchen, 2 full bathrooms, and decent-sized bedrooms. I'd furnished most of the common areas since I'd been there longer, and Marcus contributed some pieces when he moved in. We had a good system going. Enter Jessica. About 4 months into our living arrangement, Marcus started dating someone named Jessica. She's 24, works as an influencer and part-time yoga instructor, and honestly, seemed nice enough when I first met her. Marcus was clearly smitten. He'd talk about her constantly and was always texting her when we were hanging out. At first, Jessica would come over maybe once or twice a week. Normal dating behavior. She was polite, would say hi when she saw me, and generally didn't interfere with our living situation. I actually thought it was great that Marcus had found someone he was so excited about. But then, things started to change. The gradual invasion. The first sign something was shifting was when Jessica started staying over more frequently. What began as occasional weekend sleepovers turned into 3 or 4 nights a week. Still within reasonable roommate territory, people date, people sleep over, that's normal. But then I started noticing other changes. Jessica would be there during the day when Marcus was at work. I'd come home for lunch and find her on our couch, laptop out, clearly working from our apartment. When I asked Marcus about it, he said she was just using the Wi-Fi occasionally when her internet was down at her place. No big deal, I thought. People need to work, and Wi-Fi issues happen. Then Jessica started leaving personal items around the apartment. A phone charger here, some workout clothes there, skincare products in the bathroom. Again, individually, these seemed like normal things that happen when someone spends a lot of time somewhere. But the accumulation was starting to feel like she was gradually moving in without anyone explicitly discussing it. My expensive skincare obsession. Before I continue with Jessica's story, I need to explain something about myself that becomes crucial to this whole situation. I'm really into skincare. Like, really into it. I know that might sound unusual for a guy, but I've struggled with acne and skin issues since I was a teenager, and over the past few years, I've developed a pretty sophisticated skincare routine that actually works for me. I'm talking about high-end products, serums, treatments, moisturizers, cleansers, some of which cost $100+ per bottle. My bathroom cabinet is like a small pharmacy of carefully selected products. I've got vitamin C serums, retinol treatments, hyaluronic acid moisturizers, specialized cleansers, eye creams, the works. I probably spend 200, 300 every few months restocking my skincare arsenal, but it's worth it because my skin has never looked better. I keep everything organized in a specific way, and I know exactly how much of each product I have left. When you're spending that much money on skincare, you pay attention to how quickly you're going through products. The first theft. About 6 weeks after Jessica started spending more time at our apartment, I noticed something odd. My favorite vitamin C serum, a $120 that I'd just opened the week before, seemed to be running low much faster than usual. At first I thought maybe I was using more than I realized, or perhaps the bottle was smaller than I remembered. But then I started paying closer attention to all my products, and I realized several of them were depleting at an unusually rapid rate. The expensive moisturizer I'd been rationing to last 2 months was nearly empty after 3 weeks. My $80 retinol treatment had gone from 3/4 full to almost empty in the span of 10 days. Even my basic face wash was disappearing faster than normal. I started to suspect that someone else was using my products, but I couldn't imagine Marcus would be interested in my skincare routine. He was a pretty basic soap and water kind of guy. The discovery. The mystery was solved the following week when I came home early from work with a headache. I walked into the apartment and heard the shower running in my bathroom. The master bathroom attached to my bedroom. This was weird because Marcus had his own bathroom, and Jessica shouldn't have been in the apartment at all, since Marcus was at work. When the shower stopped, I heard movement in my bathroom, so I knocked on my bedroom door. "Hello? Is someone in there?" "Oh, hi, Alex," Jessica's voice called out. "Sorry, I'm just finishing up. Marcus said it was okay if I used your shower because his water pressure is weird." She emerged from my bathroom a few minutes later, hair wet, wearing a bathrobe I didn't recognize. "Marcus isn't here," I said, confused. "Oh, I know. He gave me his key so I could come work here today. My apartment's internet is still acting up." This was the first I'd heard about Marcus giving Jessica a key to our apartment. That seemed like something he should have discussed with me first. But what really caught my attention was when Jessica walked past me, I caught a whiff of my expensive face wash and moisturizer. The scents were distinctive and unmistakable. The Confrontation, Part 1. That evening, I approached Marcus about the key situation. "Hey, I didn't realize you'd given Jessica a key to the apartment." "Oh yeah, just temporarily while her internet situation gets sorted out. She's been working from here during the day. Hope that's cool." "I mean, it would have been nice to discuss it first. It's both our space." "You're right. Sorry, man. I should have asked. But she's just working during the day, not bothering anything. Actually, I think she might be using some of my personal stuff. My skincare products in my bathroom seem to be running out really fast." Marcus looked genuinely surprised. "Really? That's weird. I'll ask her about it." I thought that would resolve the issue. It didn't. The escalation. Over the next 2 weeks, Jessica's presence in our apartment became even more constant. She was there when I left for work in the morning, and still there when I got home in the evening. Her personal belongings were accumulating in the common areas, workout equipment in the living room, her food taking up half the fridge, her laundry mixed in with Marcus's in our shared washer and dryer. But the real problem was my bathroom. Jessica was clearly using it regularly, and my skincare products were disappearing at an alarming rate. I was going through products that should last me months in a matter of weeks. When I confronted Marcus again, he got defensive. She's just staying here more because her lease is up next month and she's looking for a new place. It's temporary. Marcus, she's basically living here. She should be contributing to rent and utilities if she's here this much. Come on, man. It's not like she's officially moved in. She still has her own place. Her lease being up explains why she's here more, but it doesn't explain why she's using my personal skincare products without asking. Are you sure she's using your stuff? Maybe you're just using more than you think. That comment really annoyed me. I know my own usage patterns, and I know when my expensive products are being used by someone else. The proof. I decided I needed concrete evidence of what was happening, so I set up a small security camera in my bathroom. I know that sounds extreme, but I positioned it to only see the counter area where my products were stored, not anywhere that would capture anyone's privacy. The footage was eye-opening. Jessica was indeed using my bathroom regularly, and she wasn't just using my skincare products, she was using them liberally. I watched her apply my $120 vitamin C serum like it was basic lotion, use way too much of my expensive moisturizer, and even try products I hadn't opened yet. In one particularly infuriating clip, I watched her examine several of my products, reading the labels, and then take photos of them with her phone, probably to research them, or maybe even order her own versions. But the most shocking thing was when I saw her actually transfer some of my products into smaller containers, apparently to take with her. The major confrontation. Armed with video evidence, I sat both Marcus and Jessica down for a serious conversation. I need to address something that's been bothering me, I started. Jessica, I have proof that you've been using my personal skincare products without permission. Jessica immediately got defensive. I don't know what you're talking about. I showed them some of the security footage on my laptop. This video shows you using my products, and here you can see yourself transferring some of them into your own containers. Jessica's face went red. Those products were just sitting there. I didn't think you'd mind if I tried them. Those aren't drugstore products, Jessica. Some of those bottles cost over $100 each. I absolutely mind when someone uses them without asking. Marcus jumped in. Alex, don't you think you're being a little petty about skincare products? Petty? Marcus, she's been stealing expensive products that I specifically buy for myself. And she's been doing it for weeks. It's not stealing, Jessica protested. I was going to replace anything I used. When? It's been over a month, and you've gone through hundreds of dollars worth of my products. The living situation reality. The skincare issue had forced us to address the bigger elephant in the room. Jessica was essentially living in our apartment without paying any rent or contributing to utilities. Look, I said, if Jessica is going to be here this much, she needs to start contributing financially. She's using our electricity, water, internet, taking up space, and apparently helping herself to personal belongings. She's not officially living here, Marcus insisted. Marcus, she's here 7 days a week. Her stuff has taken over half the common areas. She's using our utilities constantly. This isn't occasional visiting anymore. What are you suggesting? Jessica asked. Either you start paying a portion of rent and utilities, maybe $400 a month since you're basically a third roommate, or you need to significantly reduce how much time you spend here. That's ridiculous, Jessica said. I'm not even on the lease. Exactly. You're not on the lease, but you're living here anyway. Marcus was clearly torn between supporting his girlfriend and maintaining our roommate relationship. Can we compromise somehow? He asked. I've been compromising for months. Jessica has been using our shared space like she lives here, without contributing anything, and helping herself to my personal belongings. I think I've been plenty accommodating. The temporary solution. After a lot of back and forth, we reached what I thought was a reasonable agreement. Jessica would limit her stays to 3 nights per week maximum, contribute $100 per month toward utilities when she was there frequently, and absolutely no more using my personal products without explicit permission. Jessica reluctantly agreed, though she clearly wasn't happy about it. For about 2 weeks, things seemed better. Jessica was there less frequently, and I didn't notice any of my products disappearing. But then her lease officially ended, and suddenly she was back to being there every single day. The storage unit. Revelation. One evening, I was taking out the trash and ran into our building manager in the hallway. "Hey, Alex," she said. "I wanted to give you a heads up that we've had some complaints about noise from your unit, and also some residents have mentioned seeing a lot of unfamiliar people in the building." Unfamiliar people? Yeah. Apparently, there's been a young woman coming and going constantly who's not on your lease. Building policy requires all residents to be on lease agreements. This conversation made me realize that Jessica's living situation was potentially putting me and Marcus at risk with our lease agreement. When I got back to the apartment, I decided to have a direct conversation with Jessica. "Jessica, where exactly are you living now that your lease is up?" "I'm staying with friends mostly," she said vaguely. "Which friends?" "Different people. It's temporary until I find a new place." "Are you storing your belongings somewhere?" She hesitated. "I have a storage unit for most of my stuff." "So you're essentially homeless right now, and you've been using our apartment as your primary residence." "It's not like that." But it was exactly like that. Jessica had been living in our apartment full-time while maintaining the fiction that she was just staying over with her boyfriend. The final straw. The breaking point came when I discovered that Jessica had not only continued using my skincare products, but had actually given some of them to her friends. I found out when I ran into a girl at a coffee shop who recognized me. "Oh, you're Jessica's roommate," she said. "Thanks for letting her share those amazing skincare products with us. That vitamin C serum you guys use is incredible." I was speechless. Jessica was not only stealing my products, but distributing them to her friends like party favors. When I confronted Jessica about this, she tried to downplay it. "I just let Sarah try a little bit of that serum because she was having skin issues." "Jessica, that little bit costs $120 per bottle. You don't get to give away my expensive products to your friends." "I didn't give away the whole bottle. You don't get to give away any of it. Those are my personal belongings." The nuclear option. That night, I made a decision. I was done trying to negotiate and compromise with someone who clearly had no respect for boundaries or other people's property. I went to Target and bought a small locking cabinet that would fit in my bathroom. I moved all of my skincare products, toiletries, and anything else personal into the locked cabinet. I also bought a mini fridge for my bedroom and moved any food or drinks I didn't want to share into my private space. When Marcus saw what I'd done, he was not happy. "Seriously, Alex? You're locking up your stuff like we're in a dorm room?" "Marcus, your girlfriend has been stealing my expensive products for months and giving them to her friends. I'm not sharing my personal belongings with someone who doesn't respect them." This is so petty. What's petty is having someone live in our apartment rent-free while helping themselves to hundreds of dollars worth of my personal products. The escalation response. Jessica was furious when she discovered the locked cabinet. "This is so passive-aggressive," she complained to Marcus. "I can't believe he's being this childish." "Maybe if you hadn't been taking his stuff without asking, he wouldn't have felt the need to lock it up," Marcus replied, which surprised me. Maybe he was finally seeing my perspective. but Jessica doubled down on her behavior. If anything, she seemed to take the locked cabinet as a personal challenge. Over the next few days, I noticed her testing the lock, obviously trying to figure out how to get into it. She made comments about how ridiculous it was to lock up skincare products, and how normal roommates share things. The final straw was when I came home to find Jessica had somehow managed to pick or break the lock on the cabinet. My products were scattered across the bathroom counter, and several bottles were clearly being used. The ultimatum. I'd had enough. I sat down with both Marcus and Jessica for what I knew would be our final roommate discussion. This situation has become completely unacceptable, I started. Jessica, you've been living here for months without contributing to rent or utilities. You've been stealing my personal belongings, and now you've actually broken into a locked cabinet to continue taking my stuff. I didn't break anything, she protested, but the evidence was clearly visible. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. Either Jessica starts paying $500 per month in rent, plus utilities, signs a sublease agreement, and replaces all the products she's used, or she stops staying here entirely. That's not fair, Jessica said. You can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. You don't live here. You've been staying here without permission or contribution for months. Marcus looked conflicted. Alex, isn't there some middle ground? Marcus, I've tried middle ground. I've tried compromise. Jessica has violated every agreement we've made. She's stolen hundreds of dollars worth of my belongings. She's potentially putting our lease at risk, and she's clearly not interested in being respectful or contributing fairly. So what are you saying? I'm saying either she becomes an official roommate with all the responsibilities that entails, or this arrangement ends immediately. The resolution. Jessica and Marcus asked for time to discuss it privately. They came back an hour later with their decision. We think you're being unreasonable, Marcus said, but Jessica has found another living situation, so this won't be an issue anymore. What kind of living situation? She's moving in with her friend Sarah until she finds her own place. I was relieved, but also skeptical. When? This weekend. True to their word, Jessica moved her accumulated belongings out of our apartment that Saturday. She made a big show of acting like she was doing me a favor, making comments about how she was happy to leave such a toxic living environment. But here's the thing. She never replaced or compensated me for any of the products she'd used. I calculated that she'd probably consumed about $400, $500 worth of my skincare products over the months she'd been staying there. Aftermath. With Jessica out of the apartment, my relationship with Marcus improved somewhat. But things were never quite the same. He clearly resented the way I'd handled the situation, and I was frustrated that he'd allowed his girlfriend to take advantage of our living arrangement for so long. Marcus moved out when our lease ended 3 months later. He claimed it was for unrelated reasons, but I think the Jessica situation had damaged our friendship beyond repair. The lessons learned. This whole experience taught me several important lessons about roommate relationships and protecting yourself in shared living situations. First, boundaries need to be established and enforced from the beginning. I was too accommodating initially, which allowed the situation to escalate gradually. Second, when someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. Jessica's pattern of boundary violations started small, but escalated consistently. I should have addressed it more firmly from the first incident. Third, don't let romantic relationships override practical living arrangements. Marcus was so concerned with keeping Jessica happy that he allowed her to take advantage of our shared space and my personal belongings. Fourth, protect your valuable possessions. If I'd locked up my skincare products from the beginning, I would have saved myself hundreds of dollars and a lot of frustration. Moving forward, I now live with a roommate who understands and respects boundaries. We have clear agreements about guests, shared expenses, and personal belongings. I've also learned to be much more direct about addressing issues as they arise rather than hoping they'll resolve themselves. As for my skincare routine, I've got a much better security system now, and my skin is still looking great. The whole experience was frustrating and expensive, but it taught me valuable lessons about standing up for myself and protecting my space and belongings. Sometimes you have to take extreme measures to get people to respect your boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're dealing with a similar situation where someone is taking advantage of your living arrangement or helping themselves to your belongings, don't be afraid to set firm boundaries and enforce them. Your peace of mind and financial well-being are worth more than avoiding conflict. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone else recognize the warning signs of a problematic roommate situation and gives them the confidence to protect themselves when necessary.